I got asked by several people in my YouTube comments over the last couple days to talk about the fact that Trump is now saying he's fine deporting American citizens. First of all, you can't deport an American citizen. Those are people that are being kidnapped. Those are people that are being exiled. Those are people that are having their constitutional rights violated, and they're all children so far. But don't think he's going to stop with kids. And we all know that it's worse because he's exiling little kids. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Fascist regimes love to come for the most powerless first. That's why they almost always go for kids. They're an easy target. Bullies love to go for the powerless, the defenseless, because the bully himself is weak. He can't pick on somebody his own size and win. Okay, anyway, to the question from the Indivisible call. Trump says that he will deport American citizens. The Judiciary GOP all voted that they are A-okay with that. What do we do with that? Leah from Indivisible said, what is happening now is an organized attempt to create terror. These aren't deportations. These are illegal renditions to a torture gulag. These are American citizens being stripped of their constitutional rights and exiled out of their homeland. These are massive human rights abuses. People not accused of any crimes are being put into gulags, into concentration camps in a third country with no ability to leave. Kidnapping men not accused of any crime is part of the plan. They want to create terror amongst the immigrant population in the U.S. You might be caught up and ripped away from your family, even if you've done nothing wrong. This regime wants to communicate that message to every immigrant in the U.S. So they're trying to create terror amongst our immigrant population. And then when they talk about exiling, deporting American citizens, and when they stop people at the border and make it really excessively difficult for you as an American to come back in the country, it's all about creating fear in the rest of the population. They want all of us to be so fearful that we sit down and we stay quiet and we don't defend the immigrants. They want to create this division between American citizens and our immigrant population. They want us to be afraid that our rights will be taken away and that what they are doing to the immigrants, they will do to us if we speak up and defend the immigrants. So they want us to sit down and be quiet so they can continue their reign of terror against immigrants here in the U.S. Leah said, how we are organizing right now is a rejection of that terror. There are more of us than there are of them. Americans do not want this. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was a great opportunity. Please understand what I'm saying. The fact that the story of the horrible violations that have been committed against him have broken through in the news cycle, what my congresswoman, along with 3 other members of Congress, and what Senator Van Hollen did, the way that this story has really gripped the national attention, that's a good thing. That's really important. It has caused Trump's approval rating on immigration, which once was really high, to now be underwater. Now, a majority of Americans disapprove of what Trump is doing on immigration. Americans do not want anonymous masked agents of the state abducting people and shunting them into a torture prison. We don't want that. The vast majority of Americans do not want that, and we need to make that case very vocally. The way that we do that is we have organized mass public resistance. The way that we do that is we do not cede our rights in advance. We understand we have a constitutional right to stand up. We exercise our rights, we get organized, we become a very loud vocal resistance that this regime cannot ignore. And I said this on Blue Sky when I first heard this story. I don't understand how any Democrat in Congress can continue to try to tell me that their Republican colleagues are reasonable people who are just scared of Trump. My Congresswoman, God love her, I think she's doing a great job. She is very vocal and very active. She has said repeatedly that we need to understand that her constituents across the aisle are good people. They're just really scared. And I would have to say, Maxine, what the fuck are you talking about? The House Judiciary Committee, all of the Republicans just voted to say they are fine with American citizens being kidnapped and kicked out of this country. They're not good people. They're fascists. And all of y'all in Congress need to come to the terms with the reality that your colleagues across the aisle are fascists. You are sitting across the aisle. You are sitting in committee with fascists. I'm sorry, but these people cannot be reasoned with. You cannot appeal to their morality at all. You cannot appeal to the rule of law with Jim Jordan What you can do is exert public pressure. These people only respond to power. Their loyalty to Trump only goes as far as they think he has a mandate from the people. The more they see the people turn on him, the more they will say, my loyalties are going to lie elsewhere, because ultimately their loyalty lies with themselves, right? They only care about themselves, their own power, and their own wealth. They are aligning themselves with Trump, except for like a few complete ideologues, deep cult members of MAGA like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Most of these guys, they don't really like Trump. They think he is a useful idiot to fulfill their own fascist ideals, to fulfill their own desire to control. And when the people rise up, they ultimately have to answer to us. So we need to keep the pressure on. I know that if you have one of these Republican electeds, you think that they're not going to listen to you. They will listen if enough people get together. There's a reason they are afraid to show up at town halls. But I want all of us who have Democratic electeds to be reminding them, these are not reasonable people. These are not people that you can appeal to. These are people that only understand power. Stop acting like you have reasonable colleagues. Look at what they're doing. Look at their actions. I don't give a shit what they're telling you in these conversations on the House floor. Look at their actions. Look at the way that they're voting. Look at the way they're voting to undermine the rule of law and to basically, irrevocably alter the lives of innocent people, the way they are causing active harm to innocent people, knowing they know full well what they're doing is unconstitutional, and they don't seem to care. They only seem to care about voting in line with Trump's fascist agenda, and we have to make them decide that that is a politically foolish thing to continue to do, because the post-Trump era is coming. And again, I want to remind everybody who has a Democratic elected, you need to remind them of that reality. They need to be communicating to their Republican colleagues, there will be a day when Trump is no longer in power and you will be held accountable for what you are doing now, the ways that you are breaking the law. And we need to be reminding our Democratic electeds that it is their job to make sure that they get that accountability. It is their job to not sweep this under the rug. What is happening right now cannot be forgotten. It cannot be swept under the rug. We cannot have 4 years like we had with Biden, where justice was delayed and denied repeatedly. And the folks in Congress who were trying to get accountability, the systems of power did not support them. We can never have that again. If we want to stop fascism, we must nip it in the bud. And there must be accountability for the ways that people are breaking the law now. And unfortunately, the Democrats that we have to drag kicking and screaming, we have to hold their feet to the fire and make them do the right thing. They are the mechanism through which we get justice. They are the mechanism through which, oversight committee investigations happen and accountability happens. And it's going to be us as the people running the show and putting that public pressure on them now to remind them that is their job in the very near future. And they need to remind Republicans that accountability is coming. And then when we get the post-Trump era, we are going to have to force those Democrats to enact that justice, to have that accountability. I don't think that they will do it willingly without us forcing them to. I'm sorry, I wish it wasn't so hard, but this is a country that is run by the people. So it's up to us to actually do the running. We are going to have to run the Democrats. If they are not willing to drive themselves, we must drive them. Because the reality is they are the mechanism through which we have accountability. I don't love that reality. I don't love it at all. But we also cannot allow what is happening today. We cannot allow those Republicans on the House Judiciary who voted to say they are okay with Trump exiling American citizens. We cannot let those folks escape accountability. They cannot be serving in government after this. There can't be any fascists left in government after all of this. None of them get a free pass on their behavior now.